On this Harvest Moon AOA podcast Monday episode. Thank you for being here. We have got a ton to discuss, including this ever-evolving story that broke yesterday morning about New York Jet great Mark Sanchez, who is caught up in this stabbing altercation, which started out as poor Mark Sanchez got stabbed. And at this current point, now he's facing felony charges because of the pictures and photos that were released of the guy he mixed it up with. This is a nuts story. Insanity. I'll share it all with you. Story number 2, Ghislaine Maxwell in the Supreme Court. They ruled on her appeal. I'll share all the details. Plus, Candace Owens continues with the Charlie Kirk theories, despite what Turning Point USA is begging and pleading her not to do. We'll share all that with you. There is a super harvest moon. We do have some crazy Taylor theories. Why would you care about Connor McDavid's contract? Well, because Connor McDavid signed an extension today with the Edmonton Oilers, and he did something that I've never seen any other person do. And it should be applauded and recognized. We will share that with you. Plus, we've got some other assorted topics and such. My friends, together, all that, you and me, makes a podcast. You'll notice my friend in arms, the great Frankie C., not here below me. Why is that? He is currently traveling at the moment. He is on his way to the Riyadh Podcast Festival. So he will not be joining us on this show. Just goes to show you, for all the morality, Mr. Nice Guy, I'm not going to take anybody's money. He's on a plane heading to the Riyadh Podcast Festival. So a little disappointed, if I'm going to be totally honest with you. Little disappointed. But hopefully we'll catch up with him soon. Mark Sanchez. Jet's great. He gave us the butt fumble, for those of you who don't remember. Actually was kind of another Jets disappointment, but we're not here to pile on the Jets fans. You know what I'm saying? We're not here to make the Jets feel any worse than they already do after their Sunday performance. And what's interesting about that statement is you could literally play that any week of the 16-week NFL season, and it will hold up. Anytime you can say, we don't want to pile on top of the Jets because of how they performed this past weekend, and that will be a true statement all year long. So that's kind of interesting. But anyway, story broke yesterday morning that Mark Sanchez was in the hospital after being stabbed, and I heard that as a New Yorker. I'm a Giant fan. As a New Yorker, I was like, oh, this is terrible. What happened there? And then as the day progressed, we learned more and more information. And as it turns out, he actually instigated the altercation. He got into a fight with another gentleman who turned out to be an Uber driver or DoorDash or what. He was delivering food for this bar restaurant in a box truck. Supposedly, apparently, and there's been lots of different things that have come out here, but from what I can tell, he jumped in the car. The guy who's 69 years old, it was just trying to, make a couple of bucks. I don't know if that's his full-time job or his second job or whatever. He was loading the truck and Sanchez jumps in. They get into an altercation. They wind up stabbing each other. Mark Sanchez stabbed the guy in the cheek all the way through his cheek. There's photos everywhere. If you Google Mark Sanchez stabbing victim or stabbing whatever, you'll see this guy. There's a photo of him laying in a hospital bed. There's just blood everywhere. I'm not going to put it up on screen because there's obviously restrictions on social media. I could share it. It'll just flag us and we'll get less reach and delivery, and the algorithm will be mad at us and angry. So you're just going to have to Google this one on your own. But he's all bloodied and messed up. He's 69 years old. Sanchez, I don't know how old he is. He must be in his 30s or perhaps early 40s. He retired as a player. He's a sports broadcaster now for Fox. And we get this insane story. They late Sunday were like, we probably going to charge Sanchez with misdemeanors. I think they might have even charged him with misdemeanors. And then as the photos of the guy he got into the fight with, who stabbed him as well, started to come out, and it was, more and more of the story was relayed to everybody. There was a 69-year-old guy. He's a delivery driver. He's just trying to make a living. They've upgraded the charges to felony counts. So Sanchez now is going to face felony charges in this altercation. He admitted already, Sanchez, that he was blackout drunk. I don't know what came about this. Again, my only experience from Mark Sanchez is seeing him as a New York Jet for a number of years. There was a Hard Knocks that featured the Jets where we got a little bit more of an insight to him. Seems like a nice guy. I mean, seemed apparently like he's okay, like an okay dude. I've seen him numerous times on the Dan Patrick Show. If you've listened to me, I'm a big fan of Dan Patrick. Great sports broadcaster, does a show syndicated all throughout the country on NBC Sports. And Mark Sanchez would come in and do drops with the Dan Patrick Show. Nothing that I've seen out of Mark Sanchez over all these years indicated in any way, shape, or form that he would flip out one day and get into a stabbing brawl with a 69-year-old man in a back alley behind a bar on a random Saturday night, Sunday morning. So this is pretty shocking to most people. What I just found out is that his last name, Sanchez, in Spanish, when you translate that to English, means stabbing person. So that's a little alarming. It feels like at first glance we didn't really see this coming, when all along we probably should have seen this coming. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Ann, where's the warning signs? Let's not blame Mark Sanchez. Let's blame all our bilingual friends for not giving us a heads up. It'd have been nice if somebody would have went, hey, Sanchez means stabbing spree in Spanish, just to give us a little bit of whatever. Now, if you speak Spanish and you're hearing this for the first time, check my work. If you can, just a little background check on what I just said, because I'm not 100% sure that that's all true. But the point is this. Nobody really saw this coming. It's not like everybody was like, oh, yeah, that guy's got anger issues. He seems like a gem of a guy, like a sweetheart of a guy. And I'm not sure exactly what combination of alcohol would turn you into a 69-year-old working man stabbing monster. But that's what happened to our old pal, Mark Sanchez. I am going to go out on a limb and say he had something else in his system, because again, I've gone through nights where I've had too much to drink. I've gone through nights where I've had too much of other things. I've gone through nights where I've been roofied, where I've been drugged. And in all of those instances, I always wound up just eating more donuts than I should have. I never wound up stabbing a grandpa, for lack of a better term. So somebody's going to have to help me out here and explain to me what turns a seemingly nice man into an insane stabbing grandpa stabber. I mean, literally, the charges went from misdemeanor to felony today, purely based on, investigation is what they're going to say as they investigated more into it. But it was really just the backlash and craze of people online going, how this poor old man, how can this, this can't stand. So when people talk about like the strength of social media and everything like that, like it does make a difference. Public opinion does matter. We keep harping on the Epstein stuff. And the reason why is because at the end of the day, if enough people are loud enough, it can make a difference. And I think that's what we saw here in a quick, short amount of time with Mark Sanchez. We saw some footage come, which, again, I'm not going to share with you, but it's Sanchez like stumbling down the street after this all happened. His shirt is all bloodied. He was in some, I believe, critical condition at one point. Now I think he's in stable condition. I don't know if he's issued a statement, but his brother sent a statement over to TMZ just a little while ago. His brother, Nick. who says, let me read this here, and I quote, "This has been a deeply distressing time for everyone involved. Mark and our family are incredibly grateful for the concern, love, and support we've received over the past few days. Mark remains under medical care for serious injuries he sustained and is focused on his recovery as the legal process continues. We would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to the first responders and medical staff." No mention there from the brother about why why Sanchez went around on a crazy stabbing spree here. Again, I'll pull back some opinion here until we know more. I don't know what the guy said. I don't know what happened, but from, again, what I've heard is that Sanchez sort of started this by being in the back alley, telling the driver he couldn't be there, and then actually jumping in the cab of the truck. It was like a box truck, so it was like a big delivery thing. Jump into the cab, and that's where it all kind of started. So I don't know what's going on. I'm sure we'll learn more. I'm sure we'll have some eyewitness, testimony. I'm sure there's cameras, hopefully, back there to give us a little insight of what happened. But as of right now, this does not look good for Mark Sanchez. And, as we get more details on this, if people care, we'll keep everybody up to date. But it's kind of a weird story that a Jets quarterback from years ago and now broadcaster just went into a stabbing fight with a 69-year-old delivery driver. Just when you thought 2025 couldn't get more random, like there's no way anybody had this on their bingo card for this year. We'll keep you up to date on what's going on with that. All right. Ghislaine Maxwell, we've been circling this. It's weird when it comes to the Supreme Court because, they're going to hear cases, they're going to consider cases to hear, but there's not exactly a finite calendar put down of like, hey, we're going to decide this on this date. It kind of just, as they roll, they just figure stuff out. Today, it was announced that the Supreme Court declined to hear Ghislaine Maxwell's case, leaving her 2021 conviction and 20-year sentence intact. There was no explanation with the denial. It was just put out that they would not hear the case. Her core argument leaned on the sweetheart deal down in Florida, that non-prosecution agreement that Epstein got in 2008. Lower courts and now the Supreme Court of the United States say that it does not shield Ghislaine Maxwell and the New York prosecution. That's kind of what they've been hinging this on to keep Ghislaine Maxwell behind bars, if you could even call where she is right now behind bars, is that this was a Florida agreement between the state and Epstein and not a federal one. And so a case brought in New York doesn't apply like that. You just can't use that deal from Florida in the New York case. That's kind of what they're saying. Not that I like to drag President Trump into everything like some people do, but this is sort of important with everything going on with the Epstein files, this current administration, where the government shutdown is, which, by the way, can I just say, I don't know what day we're in of the government shutdown. Let's ask Siri. Let's get an official report. What day of the government shutdown are we currently in?
Do you want me to use ChatGPT to answer that?
Yes.
As of October 6, 2025, the U.S. federal government shutdown is in its sixth day, following a failure to pass funding legislation by September 30th, 2025.
All right, sixth day of the government shutdown. Thank you. Appreciate that. I like Siri asking for ChatGPT for help. We're in the sixth day of the government shutdown. Since the government has shut down, I have not lost a bet that I've made. Prior to when the government was working, my football picks were not. Now that the government is shut down, I went 10-0 over the week. I can't even tell you the streak I am on right now. Bad time to be a New York sports fan. Yanks lost 2 over the weekend. The Jets and the Giants got blown out. Your old pal Ant is up, and I'm up big. So as far as I'm concerned, the government can stay shut down because I've never been on a hotter betting streak than I am right now. I don't know if there's a line on when the government will come back, but if there is, I'm going to find it and I'm going to bet it. I am going to bet it because I'm having all the luck in the world right now. So let's just keep things in perspective. Sure, people are affected by the government shutdown and there's programs and all. Don't focus on that. Your old pal Ant is betting like an animal at the moment. Let's keep this thing going. Let's keep the government shut down. Let's keep the betting hot streak alive. Okay, anyway. Not that I want to drag Trump into everything, but it is kind of important, again, when you consider all the things going on with the Epstein files, the government shutdown. They can't swear in the last Democrat who's the last signature that they need to release the Epstein files. This whole thing is like a crazy, roller coaster or whatever. Press conference today in the White House. Caitlin Collins asked Trump if he would pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, and he gave basically his typical answer. And I'm quoting here, I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. She pressed for a follow-up. Trump said he's not actively considering pardoning Maxwell, saying, quote, I wouldn't consider it or not consider. I don't know anything about it. I will speak to the DOJ. He later admitted that Diddy asked him for a pardon. He said, quote, a lot of people have asked me for pardons, including Sean Diddy Combs. He was sentenced on Friday to more than 4 years in prison. We talked about that. Pressed on the severity of Maxwell's crimes, which include a conviction for child sex trafficking, Trump seemed to shrug it off, saying, quote, I'm going to have to take a look at it. I have to ask the DOJ. I didn't know they rejected it. I didn't know she was even asking for it, frankly. So that's the latest for the president. I kind of have a feeling he probably asked for it. Also don't know why he needs to check in with the DOJ on it. It's not really his job to pardon people. It's his job to run the country. Pardoning is part of the gig that when people ask for it, he can make the call or not. I don't know why it's bothering me, but it's bothering me that he's like, I'll have to check with the DOJ. It's like, no, you don't really need to. Either you want to pardon a person or not. Either there's a reason to pardon a person or not. There is no reason to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. No remote reason. It's not even close. There's not even a chance. We got the wrong person here by accident. Despite what Kash Patel tells you or anybody else is saying on the internet, Ghislaine Maxwell should be behind bars for the rest of her life. We didn't get it wrong on this one. Where we got it wrong with Ghislaine is letting her walk around free in a Texas facility that has no gate on it, and not in the Florida prison where she was, which she shouldn't have even been in a low prison like that to begin with. She went from a joke of a prison to barely a camp. I don't know how we got here. She should be in a maximum security prison with the worst rapists in the world, murderers, and crazy people. That's where she belongs. And, I get Trump saying, it's weird with it. Again, I don't want to go down this path, but he can be so determined and determinative, if that's a word. Like the Tylenol thing was like hey, this is starting to pop up and there might be a link here and there's been some preliminary studies. So maybe we should put more studies on it. He took that and was like, don't take Tylenol while you're pregnant or your kid's going to get autism. He was so sure of himself there. But when it comes to Ghislaine Maxwell, it's a gray area that he needs to look into. I'm sorry, MAGA friends, but I'm stumped. I'm stumped. He leaps with the Tylenol thing, which I wouldn't have done for, because lawsuits, damaging, all this kind of thing. Again, I think Tylenol should be studied with its links to autism. I think that was the whole point of this. Maybe there's more there. Maybe there's not. There's enough to look into it further was kind of what that press conference should have been. But that was so definitive on his part. And then all of a sudden, but Ghislaine Maxwell, we got to look into. And then the wishing her well from years past. This whole thing, the way he has handled this from day one since getting into office has confused me and befuddled me and left me with no argument to defend him. I mean, I don't think anybody has an argument to defend the president of the United States when it comes to this Epstein stuff. And this whole, it's a Democrat hoax Nobody's buying, not even my MAGA friends. Not even MAGA people I talk to are like going along with him on that one. He continues to just fail in that regard. So Ghislaine Maxwell will be behind camp bars, at least for the near future. Thank you to the Supreme Court for getting something right, at least unanimously. Candace Owens continues to go down this path of linking the assassination of Charlie Kirk to him changing his mind on his stance with Israel. Okay, we've been on a bit of a journey with this, and I'm willing to admit that your old pal Ant learns things, and we study more, and we find out new stuff. What's true one day turns out not to be true after further research, and those kinds of things happen. I shared with you the letter that Charlie Kirk wrote Benjamin Netanyahu that was very friendly. That letter was, a couple of weeks old, a month old, or whatever it was. Everybody wrote to me, Ant, he was changing his tune. Look into it a little bit more. I looked into it a little bit more. Okay, it sounded like he was changing his mind a little bit, given what had happened and what Benjamin Netanyahu was doing most recently. It appears as though that is the case. Okay, I'm going to share some text messages with you that Candace Owens shared today. I still, with all of this, think that her behavior is disgusting when talking about her friend. And I'm surprised that Erica Kirk and other people haven't reached out to make more of an effort to put this to bed, because there's been releases and statements not naming Candace Owens, but people kind of being like, hey, just so you know, there's a lot of people at Turning Point who love Charlie Kirk. There's a lot of people that were with him the day that he was assassinated that did their best, that, their life was protecting him, or their job was protecting him. Some people in the Turning Point organization, their life was carrying out the Turning Point mission and Charlie Kirk's mission. And now you have this half an asshole who's just out here spreading crazy theories and conspiracy nut job theories on what happened, based on what happened to her, based on limited conversations with Charlie, and based on conjecture. Again, I keep hearing things from Candace Owens, and I keep saying to myself, it proves nothing. It gives me nothing. And if I was out here on this show just slandering people who worked with a close friend of mine and accusing them of being on the take and helping assassinate Charlie Kirk with the help of Israel, I would hope that somebody would take me to task. I would hope that somebody would be like, Ant, listen, Frank is over there right now, despite my best efforts. He is in the Middle East gearing up for the Riyadh Podcast Festival. And I hope everything is okay. I hope it all goes the best. But were something bad to happen to Frankie C, I wouldn't be out here the next day just blasting a whole entire country, religion, group of people because of a bad exchange that I had with them personally prior to that. I mean, if I felt like a buddy of mine was wronged, I would do all the work I possibly could to have the real killers brought to justice. But I would do most of that behind the scenes. I wouldn't go spreading misinformation on the fact that I'm wrong, and would distract from the proper person and or people from being brought to justice. The theory that Candace Owens always just puts what she knows out there and lets everybody do their own research, I get that. I understand that. But it changes when you have a personal relationship at hand. If Candace Owens was really this close to Charlie Kirk, if she respected Erica Kirk this much, if she had any respect for what Turning Point does, she would stop doing what she's doing. Now, I have no problem with her criticizing Israel. I have no problem with her criticizing Bill Ackerman. I have no problem with her discussing, there's a way to do this in a manner in which you're just not always like alluding to like, hey, pretty sure the Jews killed Charlie Kirk. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a way to do it, and Candace doesn't do it that way. And I will say she is incredibly talented from a perspective of she chooses her words very carefully and knows exactly what to say and knows exactly what not to say. And I wish more of her followers would take her to task on the things that she does and doesn't say. Because again, I'm an independent. I'm an independent. I believe what happened to Charlie Kirk was a tragedy. I didn't always agree with Charlie Kirk. In fact, I flat out disagreed with and probably called Charlie Kirk some. I don't even know. I say a lot of things. We've done a lot of shows. I'm sure you can look back and find me saying something bad about Charlie Kirk, but you're also going to find me saying I respect the guy for what he did. Always, since before he died, I'm on the record of saying that. I'm on. You can go back. I can tell you even when to go. Go back to the episode post-election. When we talked about Trump winning the election, I gave Charlie Kirk a lot of flowers for the ground game that he put together for this campaign. I'm not sure, although looking back and studying everything I have, Kamala was just awful at running a campaign, just terrible. She might have been an all Trump needed to win, but I still feel like Charlie contributed a lot to the Trump victory. So, but all that being, I wouldn't say these things that she is saying. I think what she's doing is horrible and is really besmirching his name. And even if everything she's alluding to is true from a perspective of Charlie did change his mind and his stance in Israel, Charlie was having some issues with Jewish donors and things like that. Even if all that is true, I still don't think that. It doesn't make any sense to me that Israel, Netanyahu, Mossad, with all the sketchiness that they've been accused of and all the sketchiness that we know of from those three entities, would have Charlie Kirk killed. And I'm not an Israel defender for no reason. I'm not, believe me, I love when people go, oh, he's getting paid by Israel. I fucking wish, bro, I'd have nicer everything. I'd have nicer everything. For a specialist Charlie was, there's 40 Charlies. Tucker, Candace, Charlie, the other guy who kind of dresses like Charlie. Who's the guy? Ben Shapiro. There's killing one of them ain't gonna do shit. And if anything, it's made Charlie Kirk more popular than ever. So you can send me all the videos of Netanyahu talking about this. That was the other thing. Netanyahu is like, hey, we got to use our influencers. We got to win on TikTok. He's doing all this stuff was on camera. He's like, they're finally admitting it. And bro, everybody plays the social media game. Everybody. Netanyahu, Trump, the United States of America, Italy, England, Russia, China. Like everybody is trying to get everybody else to think about the world the way they do. That's just the norm. That's the norm. So if that's the norm, why are we, I can't help but think that this is just crazy anti-Semitic raving from a lunatic who had a brush up with some Jewish people. And the thing to keep in mind is a sensitive topic with all of this stuff. I don't know if you noticed this, but when I approach the Palestine-Israel thing, I approach it the way it should be. This is a crazy knot. There's not one side. There's 4,000. Lots of people are right. Lots of people are wrong. You hope for peace and the best. That's it. It's the only way to say it. It's the only way to approach it, right? to be out there and just be like nodding toward, like everybody, I understand people are unhappy with a certain amount of Americans or whoever just taking Israel's side blindly. I get that. But at the same time, like, you can't ignore the way the Jewish people have been treated over the course of time. Has Netanyahu done things that are wrong? Yes. Has all the sides involved in this done things that are wrong? Yes. There's no reason to go out there and be like, here's a text message. Probably the Jews killed him. Like, it's just, it's fucking irresponsible from Candace Owens. And I like to think that I have a fair amount of tolerance for podcasters who want to exercise their free speech and float things out there. Again, I give a lot of runway, I feel like, for people, but at a certain point also, this is your friend you're talking about. Like, you're just trying to poach numbers off of your friend's death. Like, I don't know why there hasn't been a phone call from Erica Kirk that has told Candace Owens to shut the fuck up already, and she's not helping whatsoever. Unless Erica Kirk has done what we all should do and has turned a deaf ear to this stupid idiot and everything she says on a daily basis to stay relevant. Like, don't get me wrong. It's part of the game of doing this. And I've told you this before. You try and be, podcasters need to be current. They need to be controversial. They need to be outlandish just to get eyes and views and everything. I understand it's part of a game, but the way I play this game, I'll dip my toe into some of those areas when I need to, but I like to lay my head down at night and sleep and know in good conscience that I did the best I could and try to entertain and inform people for that day. If I was out there just going, I know it'll get a lot of views, me shitting all over the Jewish people, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. And I don't know why Candace can't make that distinction. Alex Jones, I've given up hope for. That fucker, as soon as the frogs turned people gay, that there was just no helping him. He just became pure entertainment at that point. Like, it's just, I don't really talk about Alex Jones a lot on this show. I hold out some hope for some of the cable news rejects, as I like to call them. And that's just not entirely the Tucker Carlsons and Don Lemons. It's everybody in that class, the alternate media, the Ben Shapiros, the Candace Owens, the Jon Stewarts. You know what I'm saying? They're all on both sides of the aisle. I like the people that are doing non-mainstream media stuff. Again, Dan Patrick and sports. There's tons of people I could point to that are doing great work solely on their own. Being a part of that group of people, albeit a smaller part, totally acknowledging, I want us to be better. I want us to be better. I want us to be good. And from Rogan and Vaughn and all the top dogs, Candace Owens, everybody who's pulling huge numbers, down to our, what I like to call middle class show, because we're kind of like, in the middle, down to the people who just do 3 podcasts to give it a try. Like, be better. Have some integrity. Podcasters want to get on their podcast and shit all over mainstream media for not having integrity, and then you're not going to have your own integrity. That's not the point. I'll gladly suffer through all the algorithm fouls that I commit, all of the opportunities that I don't take just to get numbers, to sleep well at night, to know that this is a podcast with integrity. And yes, I'm talking about the podcast that incessantly talks about cuck chairs for some reason. I don't know why. People are going to be like, is that the podcast? The guy who made the big integrity speech, is that the podcast where the AOA holes just talk about cuck chairs nonstop and rename months Cucktober? And you're going to be like, yeah. And they're going to be like, was he going on an integrity rant? And you're going to be like, yeah, he was. And you know what I say? I don't make you a bad podcast. Just because you and your fans have a cuck chair obsession doesn't mean you don't have integrity. Am I right or am I right? I rest my case. Thank you, Christelle. Thank you for the international cuck chair emoji symbol. Yeah, at some point you got to say cuck it. I agree. I agree. Bird says, tell him to pull up a cuck chair and we'll explain everything. You know when somebody says something better than you could ever say? That means it's time to move along. Next topic. Can't top that one. Can't top that one from... Oh, wait, I was supposed to show you... Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. Can't move on. I was about to move on. I realized I never showed you the stupid text message from Candace Owens. So let me give you guys that part of it, or else we'll never get the fuck out of here today. Cuckle up, buckaroo. Robin, did you know you had a... Oh, cuckle up, buckaroo. I get it. Buckle up, cuckaroo. I was going to say you missed the cuckaroo opportunity, but I see what you did there. I apologize. I was about to jump on you for a second, and I realized I shouldn't. I'm dealing with a master here. You got it. Cuckle up, buckaroo is the proper terminology. Okay, so here's the text messages, and thanks to Mario Nawfall. Any relation to a narwhal? Isn't that the isn't the narwhal? Wait, what was the narwhal? Isn't the narwhal the thing in Elf that comes out of the water? Wasn't that a narwhal? Or am I thinking of something else? Doesn't matter. Who cares? Anyway, Mario Narwhal on Twitter. Thank you for this. He put a screenshot of what Candace Owens was talking about. His caption: Candace Owens just posted alleged screenshots of a group chat showing Charlie Kirk expressing frustration with major Jewish donors only 48 hours before his assassination. In the messages, Charlie Kirk, okay, I'm going to read the things for you here. He also complained, if verified, these texts could shed light on mounting tensions surrounding Kirk's final days. And see, this is what I'm talking about. She knows what she's doing. She knows if she just puts a little thing out there, the next podcaster, the next blog, the next internet journalist is going to come out there and go, boy, there was a lot of controversy around Charlie Kirk Israel in the final days. And then that's going to lead to headlines, and then that's going to lead to more assumptions. And then next thing you know, the possibility of something bad happening in the name of all of this is what frightens me. Because that's what, honest to God, honestly, that's what frightens me at the end of the day. Candace Owens says one thing, and you know how the internet, it becomes a game of telephone. By the time it reaches the sixth person, it's like the Jews killed Charlie Kirk. And now you have crazy people taking this and doing God knows what, and something awful can happen. Again, I put my head on a pillow every night knowing that I didn't stir anything up to cause somebody to do harm to somebody else. Where Candace is just pumping these things out there, just assuming nothing bad is going to happen. God forbid somebody does something awful based off of this false information that she spreads around. I mean, you got to be able to back some of this stuff up with fact. That's why I'm saying investigate it first. Used to be the old adage was you can't go to air without two sources, separate sources, not one quoting another. And you got to have cold, hard, substantiated facts. All Candace Owens has put forward is Charlie was changing his mind. Charlie was running into Jewish donors who didn't want to donate to him any longer. That doesn't mean that Charlie Kirk was killed by Israel, Mossad, or Benjamin Netanyahu. It doesn't. And then she's playing the game smart because she's going to come out and say, hey, I never said that. And she never says the actual words. But she talks about it. She frames it. She knows exactly what not to say while talking about it so that other people will go and run with it and do exactly what this guy is doing and what everybody else is doing. And it's fucking sickening. It's sickening to me. Let's make this bigger again so we can read it. Okay, so Charlie Kirk in this group chat says, just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. the person who he's talking to, whose name is blacked out, responds, ugh. Charlie responds, Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. The person he's talking with says, please don't invite Candace. That might feel good short term, but it's not good long term, in my opinion. Like all groups, you're going to get a wide variety of opinions. That nasty free will thing that God bestowed on us makes life frustrating at times. To me, all this really shows, like, I see a thing like this, and all it really tells me is, because of Candace's stance against Israel, because of Tucker's stance against Israel, some of the Jewish people who donated to Turning Point USA were suddenly thinking about not donating. And they wanted Charlie Kirk to condemn Tucker and Candace and whoever else and stay on the pro-Israel side. There's nothing wrong with any of this. There's nothing wrong with Charlie changing his mind. There's nothing wrong with people donating Charlie saying, hey, your interests no longer intersect with mine. You either condemn this guy or you could say goodbye to my $2 million. This shit happens all the time with donations, with advertisers. Like, this is the way of the world. And if he really doesn't want to play the game, then he doesn't play the game. It doesn't mean they killed him. And don't give me this, she never said it. She's been fucking talking about this since the day after he got killed. She fucking disgusts me. And this whole thing is disgusting. Like, again, I'm happy to go along with Charlie Kirk was having issues with being a pro-Israel supporter. It's nothing wrong. Fine. Charlie Kirk didn't want to bend and condemn his friends Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, even if it would cost. Fine, great. It doesn't mean they fucking killed him. Stop spreading it around like that. And also, again, if this is proven real, I'm a little weirded out by Kirk's response to it, because him losing donors and then being like, I might have to leave the pro-Israel, like, change your stance on Israel, not based on what donors are telling you, but the facts. Unfortunate shit happens all the time. You know, you got to make calls. Again, like, listen, I've done it over the course of my career. I've done and said things that have cost me money. I can't even tell you how many times. But I'm comfortable with it. I'm happy with it. But I didn't change my stance on an opinion on something based off of a missed monetary opportunity. Even when the shitty people who got our TikTok account canceled because I said not so nice things about Meghan Markle, even then didn't change my approach to Meghan Markle. Like, the second Meghan Markle does something shitty, I will be there to be all over it. It doesn't change because I like that. If anything, it infuriates me more. It makes me want to stay on top of the situation more. But it doesn't alter my fucking stance. Like, I don't change my opinion on Meghan Markle because she has a whole bunch of shitty fans. I know her fans are shitty. They're fans of hers. See what I did? So anyway, that's that. Speaking of which, again, I love to shit on Meghan Markle. I enjoy it. I like calling shitty people out when they do shitty things. People are getting all mad at Meghan Markle because she was in Paris for Fashion Week and she put her feet up in a car kind of relatively close to where Princess Diana died. And people are like, how could she be so insensitive? I'm like, she's a fucking idiot. You think she knows that's where her deceased mother-in-law passed away? And also, it was like not in the exact spot where it happened, but I guess if she would have kept traveling, she would have eventually come across the exact area where Princess Diana died. Like, the people are reaching. Believe me, I don't want to discourage people shitting on Meghan Markle. Go for it. She deserves it. She sucks. She might not be as bad as Candace Owens, but she sucks pretty hard. She doesn't deserve the anger for that. Come at me with a better reason than that. Like, it's a little it's a reach. And would most of you agree in the live chat? I'm basically the biggest Meghan Markle hater that exists. Again, I actually don't hate her, but if you want to label me a classic hater, I'm okay with that. This is a reach for me. I mean, this is like, give me a break. I mean, give me a fucking break. There's plenty to take that lady to task for. Making up, margarine sales. What does she sell? Not margarine. The fuck is it? Marmalade? Making up marmalade sales. You should be abused for that. You should always be taken to task for that on the internet. Every bit of verbal abuse you get and bad comment you deserve for faking marmalade sales. Putting your feet up in a car, and give me a break. That just means you're an asshole. That doesn't mean you're trying to shit on the memory of your mother-in-law. I don't really believe that. Was it jam or marmalade? She probably doesn't. She's not even talented enough to figure out a marmalade. What was it? Paul, do you remember? She had to call. She had to call it spread because it technically wasn't thick enough to categorize as jam or marmalade. We can't rehash this. Let's ignore my questions. Ignore my questions. Let's go on to the Super Harvest Moon. Cuddles is very obsessed with this. She's like, I got to check out the Super Harvest Moon. It's kind of a big deal. I'm like, whatever. I'll take any excuse to play some Neil Young in the house. Whatever we need to do is fine. The moon, simplifying this for everybody, the moon is the closest to the autumnal equinox. This year it coincides with perigee, making it a supermoon that can appear up to 14% larger and 30% brighter than a faraway moon. Peak full phase lands late on October 6th in the eastern sky, with standout viewing for a couple of nights. So starting, if you're watching live or listening live, this evening, along with the next couple of nights, you're going to see a big, bright moon. I did go out when it got dark out, and the moon was noticeably larger. And you know what's weird? Usually if you get a huge moon, it's like close to when there's a moon close to the horizon, it'll appear larger. This moon was pretty up high in the sky and still felt pretty big. So it wasn't the biggest I've seen, because if you see a moon close to the horizon, it's the largest you'll see. But where it is in the sky, it felt a little bigger, which I can't help but think back to people in like the 13 and 1400s. Like they must have been freaking the fuck out. Like before they had a chance to figure all this shit out, or 500 BC, whatever you want to call it. Like people had to like look at this and go, oh fuck, is that getting that shit's going to hit us pretty soon. If we're not fucking careful, that thing is going to, So take your pictures. Although be careful. Did you hear that? I don't know if it was I think it was the iPhone or if it was Galaxy phones. I can't remember. But there was a thing where it's like the AI is so crazy in the cameras right now that if you take a picture of the moon, it'll like generate like a moon image, meaning the cameras are still not good enough to take good pictures of the moon, but the camera knows enough to identify the moon, and so it'll fill it in with like a fake moon. Did you hear about that? It's like a whole scandal. That, by the way, that was my little Candace Owens break. That was totally hearsay. I have nothing to back it up. I am literally talking directly out of my asshole when I tell you about the phone camera moon thing. That's as close to Candace Owens as I'm ever going to get. But I feel like nobody's going to die with me like wondering about that little conspiracy theory. So there you go. But I like these moons. They say, Cuddles also said there might be like a little bit of an orange hue around it. So let me know if you guys see that. And also this will tell us if we're going to have like a bad winter or something like that. I love these little like folktale Farmer's Almanac crazy conspiracy theories from back in the day, because they're just as nutty as the shit that comes out of Candace Owens' mouth. But at the same time, like some of it like winds out to be true. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but comment below and in the live chat right now. Are you guys seeing a crazy amount of spiders in and around your house? Because here on Long Island, there's fucking spiders everywhere. I had a huge spider outside in front of my house. Neighbors of mine were sharing pictures of spiders. I think I might have talked about this. Cuddles and I were going to cheerleading the other day, and we make a turn out of one of the blocks close to our neighborhood, and there's like two signs, and in between the two signs was the biggest fucking spider web we've ever seen. Everybody around us is complaining about spiders, and now we're starting to hear the talk of the more spiders there are, like now at this time, like fall, the worse winter is going to be. So people keep predicting that winter is going to be pretty bad, at least in the Northeast, because we've got a lot of bad spiders. So huge spiders and the harvest moon means we're in for a rough winter, I guess. I have no fucking clue. I have no idea. Paul says just spider veins. That's rough, bro. That's rough. You want to get that looked at, I think. I'm not 100% sure what spider veins are, but I know it's something that people don't like. I know that. I feel like there's a ton of comments and I'm not getting all of them. Let me go back and just read some. We talking about Meghan Markle if she mixed jam with peanut butter. Did they still sell the peanut butter and the jam in the same jar together? That was the height of laziness. That's not my bit. That was some comics bit. Another way for the aliens to keep tabs on us. The big bright moon. Yeah, we're shining brightly. What's that? Did that thing pass by? The AI 3 thing? Did it go by? Everybody thought that was a spaceship. I mentioned to Candace that Anne is the real Gilgo Beach killer. Yeah, she'll jump right on that. That's what, Paul, I love your joke because like you can literally send that stupid idiot anything and she'll just start fucking saying it out in the air. Like, I can't believe it hasn't burned her ass yet, some of her haphazard commentary, but I think it's going to in this Macron thing. I think the Macrons are going to take her to the fucking cleaners. I just don't see how she gets out of that defamation case without paying out the ass. We say the same things about crackheads. If you see a lot of crackheads, it'll be a bad winter. That sucks. Do you want to, I don't know how funny this is, but I saw, the other day on Friday, I was like, all right, everybody's talking about Portland and one side says it's a war zone. The other side says it's not even bad. I don't even know what's fucking happening. And I think to myself, should this be a podcast topic? And then I thought, it's Portland. Who fucking cares? Whether there's nothing going on in Portland or it's a war zone, at the end of the day, it's fucking Portland, right? Like, just give it to Canada already. We'll lose nothing. I think we'd have a better America if we didn't have Portland. Just give it to Canada. Let them make it part of Vancouver, and let's be done with it already. Like, enough. Like, who cares? Fucking Portland has caused more bullshit problems with their fucking headlines. All right, but anyway. I started looking into the Portland thing and I realized I don't even care. This is just right versus left and I don't want to be involved in it. But there's no, to me, it wasn't podcast worthy. It wasn't top 3 worthy. It definitely wasn't even other assorted topics and such worthy. But I see this video in my travels and this guy is like on TikTok. He's like walking around Portland. And he's like, people don't think this is a war zone. Take a look. And he literally just walks around this area in Portland and like shows like all the meth heads and the crack heads and the people like are screaming on the streets and they're like sleeping on the streets. Who's doing drugs directly on the streets? All this stuff that is like not great. And he's like, you don't think Portland's in trouble? Like, look at all this stuff. And he's like showing all this stuff. And I'm sitting there watching it. I'm going, okay, I acknowledge it's not great, but that's like, as a New Yorker, this is like an average Tuesday. Like so you showed 6 crackheads on a video. Am I supposed to get excited about? And I don't want to sound like a Democrat here, because again, I'm an independent, but at the same time, like, that's not proof it's a war zone to me. That's just like, I could walk down 4 blocks in New York City and see 6 crackheads and meth heads just falling all over I mean, this is not like we have a drug problem in this country. I just don't know if that's war zone label worthy. Now what's going on in protests and Antifa and all this other, okay, that fine. I'm just talking about this one guy who's like, you can't tell me Portland doesn't have a problem. I'm like, that's a Tuesday in New York. That's not even that big of a. I've dodged more crackheads than that guy put in a video. You know, in one day in my first day of high school. You know, then he was able to put together. So I just don't think that's proof that there's a whole thing going on there. But again, outside of that, there probably is. You know, I'm going to skip the Taylor theories because there's so many, and I kind of want to wait till Aaron C comes back in and I was going to go with it. I will say this: more blowback on the Taylor record than I thought we were going to get. People are not crazy about her lyrics on this album. I also read that Taylor was miserable while she was writing this album. And there's just a lot of stuff coming out. She already addressed one of the things, which is that she was going to quit after this record. She says she's not quitting. I do want to say this, and this is not really a Taylor theory. I'm impressed with Taylor Swift's promotional ability. And I follow this stuff. Like, these are the things I look at: media, marketing, promotion, social, like all that stuff. Like, I just love to just look at it and analyze it. Taylor has a Target deal in place. She has ads running on TikTok, and not from like Taylor Swift's account, but like from Taylor Swift fan accounts. Taylor's going on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon Monday night tonight. There's a bunch of other things that I saw, and I just remember thinking to myself, like, wow, she's still putting the work in. You know, like, she's the biggest star in the world. Not to take anything away from Bad Bunny and his upcoming halftime show, but everybody knows that the NFL goes to whoever after Taylor Swift passes. Like, maybe Jay-Z doesn't pick up the phone and call Taylor directly, but his people and the NFL's people take the temperature of Taylor's people every year. Like, there's just since, I don't know, the last 5 or 6 or 8, 10 years, however long you want to say, Taylor has been the get. And they've run through all the other mega performers like Beyonce and Bruno Mars when he was having all that stuff. They've run through all those other people. And like, again, not to take away from Bad Bunny and whatever the controversy is with the Bad Bunny critique right now, because I get it. It's the global appeal, the NFL trying to expand globally. We talked about this already. That's why it's there. That's why he's there. But she's the biggest star in the world. She literally only has to put out an album and do nothing else, and it'll still be the most streamed. It'll still be the biggest selling album of the year. Like, she has to do nothing, but she's out there doing press appearances, putting together like Target exclusive deal. Like, she's still doing all of it. I'm so impressed with that because she doesn't have to do shit, and yet she's still out there just working it. There was like QR codes popping up in weird places, like more Easter eggs. Like, she's typical Taylor. She's done this whole thing to like keep the lore going for her fans. I gotta tell you, it's impressive. It's impressive. When you're at the top of the mountain and you're behaving like somebody who's trying to make it big for the first time, that is a work ethic that I will always and forever be impressed by. So Taylor Swift gets kudos from me. I also found out that on her latest Eras tour, there was like an orange door, like at the end of the show. All the shows, I guess it ended with like an orange door coming down. And that was a clear signal of this new record, you know? So I love that she's playing the long game. To me, She's a Disney Imagineer. Like nobody completes a story like a Disney Imagineer. The people at Disney come up with something. It's in a movie, it's in a cartoon, it's in their social media, it's in their rides. It's like there's no better storytellers in the world than Disney Imagineers. And Taylor Swift is right up there with them. It's just amazing to me that what she puts together and the thought that she puts into all her stuff and how far she goes just to give her fans like a full immersive experience. You know, I'm surprised. Like we've got Dollywood. I'm surprised there's not Taylorwood. Taylorwood sounds weird. That sounds perverted, actually. But Taylor Universe, Swiftiverse, Swift Kingdom. I don't know. She should have a theme park, is what I'm saying. She really should have a theme park. Yeah, Swift War. Even thanks for writing it, Bird. Even in writing, doesn't look good to me. Just feels. People with erectile dysfunction are going to get upset with that, I think. People are going to be like, why do I have to feel bad? I already feel bad. I can't keep it up. Now, all of a sudden, Swiftwood's everywhere. It just feels hurtful. I'm just trying to think of my fellow man here. We don't have Dollywood anymore? What happened to Dollywood? No, we still have Dollywood. It's still there. You know how I know we still have Dollywood? People always like to make a big deal out of, like, they love to make Dollywood the #1 theme park. Like theme park people love to put Dollywood one step above Disney World when it's just not even like, give me a fucking break. Again, I love Dolly Parton and I don't doubt that it closed. No, Roxy, you are fucking with me. Can somebody please check this? I think you got some bad information. Just like the Red Rope Licorice going around the concert. I think they just closed it down. I think you're fucking with me. I think you're messing with me. Now we got to Google. I think, Roxy, you brought the show to a halt. Like a cuck chair whose one of their legs has broken. And now the cuck is on the floor. Let's see here. Dollywood permanently closing? Here's the truth about Dolly Parton's theme park. Dollywood owners closed 2 amusement parks. Dollywood owners permanently closed 2. Well, holy shit. There's more than one Dollywood? Theme parks. Okay, let's I don't know. None of these. Let's see. Let's go with Yahoo. Hershend Family Entertainment Corporation, the company who owns Dolly Parton's Dollywood, announced they are shutting down 2 of their amusement parks, Malibu, Norcross, and Mount Asia, both located in Georgia, have been permanently shut down. Okay, so this is not Dollywood. Blah, blah, blah. So it's not Dollywood. By the way, Roxy, apologize. Hey, guys. You got caught in clickbait bullshit. Because nobody would fucking care about these 2 random Georgia theme parks if they didn't put Dollywood in the title. Okay? That is exactly what happened to you. There is no reason for you to apologize. And this is what's wrong with the world. This is what's wrong with our click culture. Like, just write that the 2 Georgia parks closed and be done with it. You don't have to sucker everybody in and our poor Roxy. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to join Paul here in blaming this on Candace Owens. So I want to apologize to the Jewish people out there, and I want to apologize to our own Roxy, who have fallen victim to Candace Owens style journalism. Okay. Now I can breathe easy because I promised my daughter I'd take her to Dollywood, and I've already broken so many promises. I didn't want to break that one. Little promises, not huge ones, like little things like I'm going to pay for college, or I'll be here for the rest of your life, or I'm never going to leave you and mom. Little things like that. Let's not make a big deal. This isn't about me. Let's not drag me into it. Let's just know that Candace Owens is wrong. Every journalist who wrote a headline like this to clickbait everybody and fool our own Roxy is wrong. And the AOAers are on the right side of it all. You're right, Roxy. That's right. That is part of the story too. Dolly Parton canceled her tour because she was sick. Yeah. Well, if we lose Dolly Parton, do we lose Disney World? I don't know. We did lose Walt, and that fucking Disney company got bigger than ever. Maybe this is like the government shutdown of my betting record. Maybe when Dolly closes her eyes, God forbid, 100 years from now. Does everybody say that, or is that just an Italian New York thing? God forbid, 100 years from now. When Dolly closes her eyes, are we going to see an explosion? Are we going to get the biggest and best Dollywood ever? You know, are we going to have more than one Dollywood location? I don't know. How do I bring this back to Taylor Swift? I can't even remember what the fuck I was talking about. About her getting a theme park? The door closing? I don't know. Who cares? Doesn't matter. MAGAwood, I wouldn't be surprised if we get it. Trump could open up MAGAwood tomorrow with not one working ride, and people will show up in droves to just lay down their money. And they would buy stale pretzels, and they would go on no rides, and they would take pictures with cardboard cutout President Trumps and be like, this is so much better than the woke Disney company. They would be so fucking happy. I wish we do have a MAGAwood. Just again, make those crazies just happy. Just go nuts, man. Just have a blast. Admission will just be, there'll be no admission, but there'll be a tariff to get in. It'll be free to get in, but you'll have to pay a $150 tariff to walk through the gates. Nothing that's advertised will actually be there. Although Mike Johnson will. That's the weird part about it. Mike Johnson will be making public appearances at MAGAwood every Tuesday. He's just going to be there to make sure that they don't dip in attendance on days of the week where usually theme park attendance is lower. You know? I think we got something with this MAGAwood. I'm not going to lie to you. I think we got a moneymaker here. Because again, the amount of people I see wearing those hats and the love for Trump will never go away. I think we could make a theme park out of it and cash in on this. MAGAwood has now become my dream. That's become my dream. And I hope to achieve it one day. I've long been looking for ways to sucker people out of money, and I think MAGAwood might be it. Paul, you just contributed to the thing that you hate the most. How does that make you feel? We're going to make I'm going to give you MAGA money too. We're going to make millions off of this, and I'm going to cut you in on it. Will you cash the checks? Please let me know. MAGAwood's just going to be merch sales alone. You know, there was a comment on one of our videos. It was one of the videos about Candace Owens making the Macron shirt, and somebody commented that they bought it. And I just remember thinking, it's amazing to buy a shirt like that. It's also really amazing to admit that you bought a shirt like that. I don't know who the person is, and I will not spotlight them. I don't want them to feel bad. If it makes them happy, it makes them happy. But something so finite in time, like even if Candace Owens has to pay millions of dollars in the defamation suit, is anybody going to remember or give a shit about that she called Macron a dude in, I was going to say a year from now, in like 4 months from now? Like, is anybody going to care? I cannot believe she sold those shirts. And I cannot believe that people openly admitted to buying them. Like, we've come up with some stupid shirts on this show, and I appreciate everybody who's ever bought a shirt. But I'd like to think our shirts are pretty much evergreen or tie back in pretty hard to the show. You know, like we've never come up with something. We've wondered aloud about, oh, we should make that a shirt or we should make this a shirt. But there's a reason why those things don't become a shirt, because nobody would buy it. And if people did, I would feel bad about it. The Macron Man of the Year thing is kind of one of those moments where it's like, you got to have a better way to spend $15. I mean, I don't know how much she's charging for shirts. Probably like $30, but there's got to be a better way to fucking, you know. Okay, this might be the best idea. This might even be better than MAGA would. Bird says we need an AOA shirt that just has the chair emoji on it. That might be something that we should look into. Just the chair emoji on the shirt. I'm gonna let me tell you how we do shirts, because we've done this before. An idea inevitably comes up. We kick it around for a little while. If we still love it in a week or two, then we make it. If we think, just judging by past sales on merch, that we can move some, like, you know, we do it. That might be one. See, Christella likes it too. That might be one that we have to do. It's just the chair emoji and nothing else. Donate my proceeds to Cucks of America. I might end the show on that line. Christmas ornaments, the Cuck chair Christmas ornaments. Okay, that might are you guys pitching a whole fucking line of Cuck merchandise? Cuckendice? If I dare to, I feel like I'm not even allowed to do the Cuck puns. It's like your guys' area. When I do it, I feel like I'm posing. I feel like I don't belong here. I'm not as good at this as you guys are. You know, a little Cuck chair ornament. I don't know if I want to be looking at my Christmas tree on Christmas morning thinking, boy, that Cuck chair ornament looks good. Is that something we want to do? Or are we, you know, denying the Cuck people their, I like this, Cuck on a shelf? Let me think about this. Can we sell Cuck on a shelf where it's not the elf itself? We sell you the elf on a shelf, and then we sell you the elf on a chair sitting next to the elf on the shelf, just watching the elf on a shelf do whatever makes the elf on the shelf happy. And we call it Cuck on a shelf. All right, let me talk to the merch team. Let me see what they can come up with here, because I think we're rolling with some good ideas for this holiday season. You know, we had nothing. Up until this moment, we had no plans for the AOA holiday line. And now we've got a lot of Cuck and dice to look into. We've got a lot of stuff to look into. I do kind of love the idea of Cuck on a shelf. It's not the elf that reports back to Santa. It's the elf that sits in a chair and watches it all go down. Yeah. That's interesting. What do you guys think about Cuck chair wrapping paper? Is that a thing? Would you like to share a wonderful treasure, if you will, gift with your loved one, and the wrapping paper is just a big Cuck surprise? Let me know if that's a thing, because we could work on starting to get a lot of thumbs up on that. Okay, we could work on Cuck wrapping paper, cucking paper, as I guess some people will start to call it. A Cuck chair mug. Is that a mug in the shape of a Cuck chair? Now we're going to have to get engineers involved. I think we're going to have to get Imagineers involved, if I'm going to be honest. All right, last episode. Fuck, we got to go back to this. This is too good. Put cookies, milk, and a Cuck chair out for Santa. Stop it. Miss Claus going to be so lost this Christmas. The Cuck on a shelf was the only way she survived, and now he's got to get. That's a good point. Oh, okay. A mug with the cuck chair on it. Yeah, okay. That's easier. All right. Then we don't need to involve any engineers. That's pretty good. I guess we can literally create a whole. All right. Scrub this from the. Don't let this show up on the replay. I can't have the replay clue seeing this kind of thing and getting all confused. I guess we could look at an entire line of cuck chair merchandise. We'll look into it. We're crafting our list of the top 500 comedians of right now. That's kind of taking all the off-air showtime, but maybe we can peel a little off of that and put some into the cuck chair merchandise. I think we can look at it. I'm going to give you a Trump answer. We'll look at it. We'll call the merch team and we'll see if, I don't know. I might consider it. I might not consider it. I haven't heard cuck chair in a while. Stupid. I want to talk about Connor McDavid, and I realize that nobody outside of the hot dog world. God, am I hungry? I realize that nobody outside of the hockey world gives a shit about Connor McDavid. But I will give you this quickly and in a bite-sized amount for people who don't care about hockey at all. Connor McDavid is by far the greatest hockey player we have right now. I think he was at one point one of the highest paid players, and then as happens in sports, everybody sort of gets ahead of you the later on that their contract gets done. He's on a team with this other guy, Leon Draisaitl, who was the highest paid hockey player. And that title recently went to Kirill Kaprizov, who plays for the Minnesota Wild. By every measure, Connor McDavid is the best and should be the highest paid player. At the end of this season, his contract will be up, so he can sign an extension. He was making $12.5 million a year, a deal he signed, I think, like 7 or 8 years ago, right? He could have signed for north of $18, $19 million a year. Connor McDavid re-signed for the same amount of money he has been making for 2 more years. I bring it up as a podcast topic. I bring it up on this show because in this current climate, in our wonderful capitalistic American society, when have you ever heard or seen somebody put team first? Put the greater good first. Now, there's a salary cap in hockey. So Connor McDavid knows that if he takes $18, $19 million, that's $7 or $8 million less that they can give to another defenseman, a goaltender, or whatever. Again, in the world of LeBron James and, oh my God, I'm going to date myself here, but A-Rod. I know there's been a lot more bigger baseball contracts, but I go back to A-Rod. I'm so old. I'm sorry. All these, max contracts, everybody making the most that they could possibly make. You hear all this conversation from agents. It's your responsibility for the next player to make as much as you can possibly make. This guy is so special that he just goes out there and goes, I'll just take a couple more years to try and win. And mind you, the backstory on this is he plays for the Edmonton Oilers, which who wants to be in Edmonton ever? And the last 2 years, his team has gone to the Stanley Cup final and he has lost to the Florida Panthers. So where hockey was invented, Canada, they are on a 2-year consecutive streak at losing to where hockey has no business being, Florida. So, and Connor McDavid has been the butt of that. His team has lost 2 years in a row to the Florida Panthers. And he chose to stay and not get a raise to have a better chance at winning. I don't know if we've seen that bit of unselfishness or selflessness in sports in quite a while. When's the last time you saw an athlete in their prime, not an aging star, but in their prime go, I don't need to take the most money because I'd like to win a championship? When was the last time you saw that happen? And I'm not talking about, because in the NBA, this seems to be a thing, like 3 players get together and they go, okay, we're going to take this much money and we're all going to go here. We're going to win a championship. That seems to be a thing. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about, You have every reason to be frustrated and leave a team, and you stay and don't take any more money so that your team can thrive and possibly win. When was the last time we've seen that in sports? If there's any parents out there looking for a role model for their child, Connor McDavid better be your answer, because this guy did something that we just don't see anywhere. In this day and age where a CEO makes an absurd amount of fucking money while his company's, employees are getting, government assistance. You look at Connor McDavid leave $8 million on the table, and you gotta applaud that. That needs to be recognized. If you're seeing this on social media as a clip, you need to share this. Don't just keep complaining about the world. Do something to make it different. Spread the word of Connor McDavid. He's being unselfish. He's leaving money on the table for the greater good. Nobody does that anymore. Share this clip, damn it. Spread the gospel of McDavid. They do call him McJesus, ironically enough. Stop sharing stupid fucking Candace Owens stuff of her batting out whatever dumb fucking idea comes to the top of her head. Spread the word of Connor McDavid. You don't need to squeeze every last dime out of every fucking deal you can. Don't get me wrong. If you're grinding it out in middle management, you need that raise. Go get it. Go get it, big dog. But this guy's been making $12.5 million for like 6 years. And he's like, I don't need any more money. I need a championship. I need legacy. I care about the team. That's fucking beautiful. That is beautiful. All right, it's Stillbirth Awareness Month in October. Every October, we try and do this where we raise some funds for the Star Legacy Foundation. Link in the description of this show, whether you're on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook. Please click the link. We have an important month coming up here where we can try and raise some awareness and some funds for our friends over at the Star Legacy Foundation. This is near and dear to our good pal, Jay Sabs, who, although has not been with us for a little while here on the podcast, still loves the podcast. She lost her firstborn, Diana Hope, and hooked up with the Star Legacy Foundation, who raises awareness, provides education, provides assistance with families who have just gone through these tragedies. And put some money into the scientific field to try and see if we can figure out how to lessen the amount of stillbirths that we have in this country. So if you have the means and can donate, please do so with the link in the description below on this episode. You'll get to a page like this where you can, this is our page. You can click donate now. We've got 25 days left on this campaign. You can see we got a $25,000 goal. $6,362 have been donated so far. If you can donate any amount or these amounts, whatever, you can see who you can support here. You just click on choose someone to support. Go to teams and select Diana Hope if you can, and then lay down your donation. Anything that you can give would be so much appreciated. Again, you guys are always so kind to us, whether you're the membership area or the super chats or buying merch. I try not to bother you with monetary asks too often. But again, if you have some extra cash to give this month, you can find it in your heart to do so. Please do. If you don't have the means to give, but you can post this on your Twitter or your Instagram stories or your Facebook page, please do so. Please do so, because that's the whole point. You never know who you're going to come across. Again, maybe you can give $20, but you put it out on your Facebook page and suddenly like 3 people can give $20. Now you've done even more than you ever possibly could on your own. So if you can share that and ask everybody to give in the name of Diana Hope Sabatino, that would be so appreciated on our end. again, having gone through this tragedy with J Sabs while it was happening. Cuddles was also pregnant at the time with our daughter. It was the worst thing that ever happened to me personally, and it happened to J Sabs. So you can imagine how bad she has gone through this. But I'll tell you what, that big cat that she is, she's bounced back, and she has raised a ton of money. She has helped a lot of other people who are going through this. And that's another reason why I always want to support it. Yeah, the cause itself is a good cause, but it's like I watch my buddy go through and raise tons of money year in and year out, be such a comfort to other people who are going through it. I'm so fucking proud of her. Me personally, I'll never do anything as important. So it's kind of why I'm just glomming on to her. I'm what do they call it? Hitching my wagon to her star. Because I don't think there's a greater thing that I could be a part of than this right now and every year. And this is my little platform to do that. And so I'm going to use it for that. So anything that you guys can do, appreciate it. And thank you guys, as always, for your help and your support. That's it for us. Again, we'll try and do more Taylor stuff when Aaron C. and Frankie C. return. Riyadh Podcast Festival, I'm not sure how long that's going to go on for, but you could be in for a week, and by could be, you definitely are in for a week of solo Ant. I hope you're used to it. I hope you guys have more cuck material to help bring some laughter to the show, because the war on cuckness is real, and we've got to keep it alive, and we've got to keep the cuck jokes coming. Help out your old pal Ann on solo week here. Love you all. Appreciate you all. Thanks, Robin, for sharing the link for the donations and the live chat. Appreciate that. Again, for everybody, even those who made it this far on the replay, bless your heart. Link in the description below. Share the episode. That always helps too with the algorithm. Thumbs up on the episode on Facebook and YouTube if you can. Like it over on Spotify if you can, or on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. All that stuff helps us and is so, so very appreciated. Until Wednesday, enjoy that Taco Tuesday, everybody.
Show me potato salad.
Maybe we should go now.
Go ahead.